We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please join me in honoring our great country with Pledge of Allegiance. Well, I want to welcome everybody. I'm your guest host tonight. Lindsay's out of town on family matter, but so looks like we'll have a nice full house. Do we have any needs for translation? One? All righty. I'll go ahead if we can get approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All righty. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to recognition. I believe we have a special award presentation.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here this evening. Today we were able to go around the school district and honor the local Teachers of the Year, one from K-6 and one 712, and so we got a chance to travel around with the chamber to do that. But just a week or two ago, we also had a chance to recognize excellence in our school district through the Crystal Apple Award. It's through the ESD in Pasco, and regional schools come together, and there are 9 recipients across the Columbia Basin, down into Clarkston, kind of all across our region that we get to recognize. And so we've invited someone tonight who's our recipient, and it's a photo op for them, a chance for the board to congratulate and recognize some excellence here. And so I invite Priscilla Tovar forward. She's our Crystal Apple Award winner. And it looks like she has her speech tonight. I don't. Yeah, that's excellent. Well, congratulations. Here's just a small token of our appreciation, and we appreciate your family being here, not only your own family, but your work family, and a chance for the board to recognize you. And really, if you do have something to share, we encourage you to do that. It would be great. Priscilla's going to go on to the regional Crystal Apple Award winner banquet in March, and at that ceremony, they try and get everyone through. Superintendents like to talk too much, so they don't let the recipients say anything. But I think it's important, at least locally, that we get a moment to hear from her and let her recognize her people. So we'll turn it over to Priscilla, and then we'll take a few photos afterward.
Okay. I just didn't feel prepared the first time when I was surprised. So I did want to thank a couple people. First of all, I want to thank God for the blessing and opportunity to be able to serve and work with the kids that I do. I want to thank my husband and my 3 babies for their unconditional love and support. They're my daily dose of self-care, and they fill my cup up every day. My parents for raising me to have a heart of service. They've always led by example, and I've witnessed their kind and genuine encounters with their clients, their drivers, their friends, and I am the woman I am today because of their example and sacrifices. I also want to thank the leadership in the district, specifically Dr. Perez and Amy Paris. From the beginning of my journey in school counseling, they've always placed me in positions where I was able to learn from other OSD superstars, and their confidence in me and their endless support has helped me feel secure and strong in my role. I want to thank my Desert Oasis family. I started my school counseling journey there, and I could not serve my students in the way that I do without the work that they do. It really takes a village to help our students, and it's an all-hands-on-deck approach at Desert Oasis. And with the support of our leader, Josh Tovar, who leads by example, we're all able to effectively reach our students with high needs. Finally, I want to thank my DOHS students and their families, because they truly are the MVPs. Working with them has been the most rewarding thing I've done. They help me more than they'll ever know, and their resilience blows my mind and humbles me every day. I'm so proud of them for all the obstacles that they have overcome and the barriers that they continually work towards breaking down. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with them and serve them. My favorite Maya Angelou quote has always been, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." And I've used this quote to guide my personal and professional life, and I want to thank all the OSD staff that I've encountered during my K-12 years who also live by this quote, who made me feel special capable, loved, and supported. A lot of them are still in our OSD family, and I'll forever be grateful for the impact they've had in my life. Thank you so much for the recognition.
Every time we do anything at DOHS, it always comes up how much everyone loves you and how much good you do there. So congratulations. And we'll see you at the high school next year, correct? Great.
Yes, congratulations. I'll repeat exactly what Director Gerber says. I can definitely tell by the passion in your voice and your heart that it's really reflects into the students. And like I've told before, I've had a couple of your students as my employees, and they always talk greatly about you guys, the whole family. But a lot of it's you and your guidance and just everything you guys do. Just I couldn't think of a better award winner than you. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Your dad would be proud of you with the speech you just gave because he loves to. So thank you for everything that you do for the kids and for the staff and everything else. Appreciate it.
Before you go, Priscilla, we'll ask the board to come forward and take a picture. Well, let's get one just with Priscilla, and then we'll add the whole family in and add it to the scrapbook. So we'll get DOHS folks in there too afterward, maybe take 2 or 3.
Make her look taller. All righty, we'll move on to student representative report, but I see we're lacking our students tonight, Miles, Isabel, and Liliana, so we'll move on to Director Gerber if he has a legislation report. What say you?
Not much of a report today. Today was actually their kind of halfway point of the legislative session, so it's moving right along.
All righty. We're going to move on to board member discussion. Do we have any board member discussion?
We do have one item listed. We're looking for confirmation for board members that might be available for NSBA, the National School Board Association Conference that we've attended for about the last decade now. So just trying to gauge interest. I believe the dates are April 4th through about the 8th. And so we're looking to make arrangements for folks who might be available.
I don't know for sure yet, but I will let Marissa know soon.
That'd be a yes for me.
Probably be out. A no for me.
Well, we'll check in with Director Prowse and Director Johnson, and then we'll also check in with the students. So appreciate you letting us know, and Director Pruneda will certainly reach out with direction and confirmation and whatnot. So thanks for that.
The only other board discussion I thought maybe I should bring up is that several weeks ago, JR and I got to meet with Michael Dawn, the athletic director, to discuss some WIA resolutions, and he's going to meet with the board here at some point before they do any voting. And so I just wanted the rest of the board to know that. So before the athletic directors vote on any new resolutions. So.
And we also had the meeting at Wahidas for the migrant issues. Were you going to talk about the superintendent items, or?
No, I think this is a good moment to talk about it. Yeah.
yeah, all three of us were able to attend the meeting. We were really pleased with the attendance, and there was a lot of great information. A lot of people from the community really stepped up for resources and things that we can do to help, and it was really great. You have the numbers and
Yeah, we
how it
had
went?
just over 100 adults in attendance, so families of the students in our school district, a number of community partners from the food bank, Othello Community Hospital, just a number of folks there to provide information and resources. And the event was hosted by the Othello School District, but it was really poured on across the state, and it's access to rights that anyone has when they're either seeking asylum or an immigrant or those kinds of things. And it was just about communicating and providing clarity for folks at a time right now that is incredibly confusing. So it really was from that point of view. Really well attended. I thought excellent information. And Josh Tovar, who just stepped out, did an excellent job of acting as the sort of not only interpreter, but translating the information that was coming in and taking questions from the group, and appreciate the board being there and showing their support. So yeah, excellent night, I think, for the folks in our community.
Alrighty, we're gonna move on to required approvals, but we're gonna amend one till we have a full board, I believe.
Yeah, the calendar one.
We're gonna table the approval of the upcoming school calendar year till we have further discussion. And then before that, I had one question regarding our budget. Just curious why we had to pay Pasco School District $31,000. That's all.
Yep, there's a number of regional partners that we have for students who might have particular special needs that we can't provide in our community. So if we don't have the trained staff, the certificated staff to provide a particular service, it just depends on how far you drill down. We could drill down all the way to that's an individual student who has a special need that we want to be careful about identifying. But those partnerships with Pasco or Kennewick or Richland typically comes from special education services that we just can't provide in Othello, but we're required by law to provide. So oftentimes we'll reach out with students who have specific needs and supports, and we'll partner with those districts on that.
Okay. No, thank you for that clarity.
So I'll make a motion to table the approval of the school year calendar until we have a full board.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, we'll table that till we have a full board. So then we'll go ahead and make a motion for the approvals.
Yeah, I'll second that to approve the required approvals.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We'll go and move on to our Ludacaga board report.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. I do want to start off a little bit off topic here. Is Priscilla was just in here receiving her award, and something really neat is her heart really does just bleed for all of our students and what she does. It's not just her occupation. She's actually been supporting us. Well, we've had one of our members out on leave, and the work she does with our kiddos, right, at an elementary school, right, with her regular, role being at a secondary school. It's amazing how versatile she is and how talented she is. We've been really blessed to receive some of her support this year, so it's really neat to see her receive that award today and for us to kind of get here to be here for that, because I know we've worked with her a lot and she's been working with some of our students, which is really cool. And so just wanted to mention that. As we start in, we just wanted to thank the board for coming to our site and getting to see a little bit about what we do, and being on site last Monday, and we really enjoyed that experience, and you guys getting to come in and see in our school. Oh, okay, I'll start with introductions now. So I'm Paul Auersen, the assistant principal. We have Christina Benjamin, our principal. We have Marcy Gonzalez, 6th grade English. We have Rosalba Samaron, who is our instructional coach. We also have Isabel Stelter, which is 1st grade English, and we have Madi Vela, who's our Dean of Students. And also, in the back row, we have Norma Rodriguez, who is our building secretary. Yeah, and so go ahead and go to the next slide. thank you. And so just a little bit to explain about our school and how it's structured is Ludwikaga is a dual language school, right? We're instructing students in 2 languages, in English and in Spanish, and our students are receiving that 50% of the time in each language. And so this right here kind of helps explain the structure of our school. On the bottom there, it talks about the 3 pillars of dual language, and that's really our foundation, is that we're a dual language school, and we make a lot of our instructional decisions based on how we support that. And there you see the 3 pillars. Now these 3 pillars, I'll explain a little bit about how we accomplish them, but they're true for dual language schools, right? You have, like, these are the things that dual language schools do, but that can actually, the execution of it can look pretty different depending on the context of where you are and what that school, student, staff, what we need, right? And so in the case of Ludwikaga, we have a really specific way that we approach things based on what our students need while maintaining that dual model. And so on the far left there, you see bilingualism and biliteracy is that pillar. We do that with our focused instruction and our driven by data work. And then in the middle pillar is high academic achievement. We do that with feedback and our instructional coherence work. And then on the far right there, we have the cross-cultural competence. So we do that with our student culture and our high student achievement in 2 languages. That's how we achieve those. Something that we've kind of added is on that top of those pillars, you can see our framework, the instructional core. And this instructional core is something that as schools, as instructional institutions, you have to do these things well. There's really no exception. And so it's really important that we added that to our model for our school. And so you can see there the task of what we actually have the students do. That's how instruction happens. We have to have a task that helps lead them towards that learning. And so in order to accomplish it, right, because it sounds maybe easy, like, oh, I'll give them a task, but it's actually a really difficult thing to do well, especially systemically. And you can see there that we have the teacher, the student, and the content. And we have to connect those things. And at Ludwikaga, we have to connect those things at a high level in 2 languages. And so it's really important that you have that instructional core aspect there to make sure that it's not like saying, hey, we're a dual school, and because of that, we're great. Yeah, we believe that, but you also have to do the things that regular schools have to do also really well to be successful. And that's something that we know and we take really seriously at Ludwikaga.
My name is Mari Bello, and I'm the Dean of Students, as Paul mentioned earlier. And when you are walking around our campus, you'll see signs that look similar to this, and they are in all of our common areas. So we have some on the playground, in our walkways, in our lunchroom, in some of our bathrooms that all the students share, like in the gym. And there are expectations so that students know what to do at all times, right? But these expectations are also important because it builds their expectation of what's going to happen at a high level of rigor in their classroom. And so that's one of the things you'll see. We have our awards and recognitions. We start with things that are small, like Pride Paws and House Points, which I'll get to in a second. But our PTA sponsors our Pride Paws every Friday. Students are, we pull a ticket from K2 or K3 and a ticket from 4, 5, 6. And these students are celebrated for the behavior or academic recognition, whatever they win their Pride Paw for. We do a little blurb for them that's posted up in our bulletin boards, and then we also put it on our social medias. And thankfully our PTA sponsors all this, and we give back to our local community or our local businesses, right? We also have our awards assemblies that recognize student academic achievements. And so we have assemblies throughout the quarter. We highlight students that are improving, that are doing great. And we have students who are recognized, or classes that are recognized by the specialists as the class of the quarter. So that's always fun. We have our house system. We are 4 houses, 1 family, 4 casas, una familia. Students are sorted into their house starting in kinder. We have a big celebration for them in December. And then they stay in that house until they leave us after 6th grade. It gives them a sense of unity, a sense of belonging, They are able to win prizes or points for their houses, and it brings in that team bonding. We have our student council, who are our leadership team and help us with all the things that are assemblies. The kids work really hard all year. There's a high level of rigor, so when we get to have fun, we really try to make it fun, not just for them, but for adults. I think we have as much fun as they do. And so we have a good time with that. The next video I'd like to share, it's just a clip of one of our students. Her name is Kaylin Salazar. She's one of our 6th graders. She is a part of our student leadership and recently one of the top 10 for the Amazing Shake, and she wanted to give you a little bit of her perspective about how she's felt being a part of these opportunities and as well as being a student at Ludokaga. Hi, Kaylin.
Hi.
Thanks for talking to me today.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I have a couple of questions for you. My first question is, how do you feel about being on student council?
I really enjoy being on student council because I get to feel part of the school a little more than how I would just be a regular student, and I get to be a part of the assemblies as well.
Awesome. Now, you were recently a part of the Amazing Shake, and you were part of the top 10 that got to go to Mattawa. So tell me a little bit about that experience.
It was a really fun experience because you got to see like other people and harder judges than if you're going to like Guajiros, because that was hard too. But in Mattawa, you felt like more intense because you know that if you like went and you scored high, you could go to Atlanta, and that was a really like big part of that because everyone tried their hardest and best, and I feel like it was just a really good experience in general.
Awesome. My last question is, we've made some changes here at Ludokaga in the classroom as teachers, so can you tell me maybe some positives and maybe things that maybe aren't so positive about it?
So some positive things are like it really helps people because like if you're struggling on like in the ESPA, it'll really help you with the 3-box organizer. It really helps you understand like more about the question because you have all your plans written down, and you have a big spot to write all your details instead of going back and forth looking at the text and then looking at the question. So you would have all your details, and then the question, like when you put it in the box organizer, you could really focus on that question and knowing what it's asking you. And then from the other perspective, looking at like the questions, answer choices, you could see like, oh, with my key details that I wrote in the subject box, this one connects with this and this one connects with that. So it would, like, give you the answer in such a way instead of going back and forth and not knowing what to do because you'll like forget about it. And some of the negatives are like it's helpful and all, but if you're doing like a time test, it wouldn't be like that helpful because you're timed and you don't have that much time to do the 3-box organizer for every question because you don't want to make it skip a question even though you had the right answer and you just needed to click on it. So that's a negative about it, but it's really helpful to most students and in the classroom because a lot of people just really focus on it and try to get the best answer they could with using it.
All right. Well, thanks, Kaylin.
Okay, I'm Marcy Gonzalez. I teach 6th grade, the English section at Ludokaga, and actually, Kaylin just took everything I had to say about reading instruction at Ludokaga, so she did awesome. But I am going to speak to how we have created a focused and coherent instructional path for students, K-6, and that really started a year ago, where reading is really close to my heart, something I love teaching, but I spoke to you, I think, on your site visit about how dual language is continually evolving and how we're adding building blocks to that. And so really this collaboration in our PLC time began looking at our reading instruction and how is it aligning for students, what happens in 1st grade compared to 3rd, compared to 6th. Some really cool things I want to highlight that have changed because of that work are that kindergarten and 6th grade might have been seen as maybe outliers in that instruction. For example, in 6th grade, it was more traditional departmentalized instruction, but now because of this work, we are all teaching reading and we are all using the same instructional strategies that are happening in 5th through kindergarten. Another example is the organizers and boxes that you see there, for example, in 2nd grade, are scaffolded for 2nd graders versus the 6th grade example. And kindergarten has been part of those PLCs, looking at how can we even get our kindergartners who maybe aren't reading yet but have those skills of thinking, how can we organize their thinking, show them ways to capture that so that it's in alignment and getting them ready for first grade. So teaming has been a really important part of our work. This year is what we are calling our second lap in the pool, which Isabel will speak to a little bit later. And so we're going deeper with that work, and that means just that even though our PLCs are focused now a little bit more on writing, we're still teaming and working on that focused instruction and coherency in our teams. So it's typical, again, for my 6th grade team, we're meeting every single day during our common planning time. So we've committed to doing that Tuesday through Friday. And when we do that, we're working on modeling how do we teach that. So we have examples down on the bottom left of our chants and gestures, graphic organizers for different comprehension skills. And we make sure that when we're presenting that we're presenting it the same way to all of the students, no matter whose classroom they're in. And that's typical K-6. Another thing that we're doing is really focusing on close reading strategies, making sure students know how to capture their thinking and making that visible to us. I think when we started working with Chromebooks and online, it's really easy for kids to say, yep, I read it, and then just click on a button and answer. So these graphic organizers that you see, obviously, as Kaylin said, take a lot of time, but I would argue a little bit with her about the time it takes not being able to do that. What she's speaking to is our STAR assessment, because the more fluent that they get, the more reps that they get, they're gonna have the time to do that on STAR as well, and many of our kids are doing that. So as they get more fluent, more reps, that will come. And especially what I want to point out is our language bridging. So like Paul said, we're doing this in both languages 50% of the time. So I taught reading in English first quarter, and I taught all of the targets for literary text. We used a novel to do that. But my partner teacher is teaching in Spanish in second quarter and did that with a novel in Spanish in second quarter. They come back to me. I teach English reading in third quarter with informational text and those skills, and then my partner teacher does that in Spanish with different text. So they're never getting repeated information in reading. So what we have to be really careful of and really intentional about is how do those skills in one language, what are the words that we're using to teach them? What are the building blocks they need to know to take that into a different language? How can we build their confidence in their second language and their target language in Spanish to make sure that they have what they need to know that they can do it in both languages? So we've just come a long way, I think, and those are some of the changes that you will see if you look at Ludokaga and what we're doing with reading.
Well, thank you, Marcy. So one thing that she was referencing right there is that alignment piece and being really intentional with our coherent plan, because being a dual language school, we also need to take a very strategic, systematic approach to learning so that kids have similar experiences, not just between partner teachers, but across different grades as they grow as cohorts in our system. One way that we are doing that is having common chants, common gestures, also common graphic organizers and common reading strategies from kindergarten all the way through 6th grade. And we wanted to take a little glimpse into the classroom of what that actually looks like in general. So this is a video of a 2nd grade classroom, English classroom. They're working on reading comprehension. I randomly walked in that day and asked if I could film because it was phenomenal. And so here's about 1 minute of her doing her reading instruction. What you'll see is you'll see student engagement with reading strategies. You'll see every kid reading. You'll see common chants and gestures, so that's the whole body emotions. And then you'll also see them referencing the text and getting ready for the graphic organizer that's in use K through 6.
Are we ready? Go. Everybody's reading together. Go! How does we help this community? Choose 2 answers. How many answers? 2. Let's read the question. Go. He teaches them about gurus. He shares his love with those who have none. He reads books with his guru. He sings a good to the kids and then lets them borrow one. helping.
So it's cute right now, but imagine sixth graders doing that as well. It is a very common thing. That's the science behind learning, is the full body motions, getting it into a chant, and it really engages the background knowledge to come forward to really understand what the task is at hand. So we're doing that K6, and we have multiple different types of targets and chants that we do that for.
Buenas noches. Mi presentación es en español. No. So I'll be talking, my name is Rosalba Salmerón, I'm the instructional coach at Ludokaga, and I'll be talking a little bit about the writing now. Like Marcy said, we've been working on reading. Last year, like all these years, we've been working in reading, but really focus our instruction with the vision. And we're doing the same thing for writing this year. So we started back in the summer with the training before we started school, right? And so we just began with, you see that picture on the right corner, that was during the summer. It was just looking at the rubrics for the different grade levels and also looking at the standards, so like familiarizing with the standards for each of the grade levels. Then during our lit day in October, we had a training, and Hannah came over and gave that training for all of us using the performance task, which is the assessment that the students in grade levels 3rd through 6th are gonna be taking. And so she showed us how to use the performance task to teach the kids the writing process. And when we had that training, all of the teachers were very excited because we understood, like, okay, this is what we need to do for our students. And that training wasn't only for teachers in the grades 3rd through 6th, but it was for K6. And so when we were in that training, all of the teachers were looking at the things, okay, what can we take from that training that we can start implementing in our lessons for writing? And so some of the things that from that training, I think one of the things that I started seeing in the classroom was just using the highlighters. And so everybody's using the same colors. Like, I don't know if you can see the colors right there, but we're using like the yellow for the topic sentence, the main idea. Then we're using the orange for transitions. And you can see that K through 6 now, that all of the kids are learning those colors to use in their writing. And so we also had, last month, we started with our PLCs. I think I shared with you that we developed a 20-day cycle for writing for the different modalities. And we just, Christina, our admin, she just said, okay, we just want the teachers to try it on, like implement it in the classroom. This is a 20-day cycle. How is it gonna look? What are the kids doing? What am I doing as a teacher? So the teachers had all this time, and then last month we just started having the PLCs targeting each of the components of the writing cycles. And it's been amazing because we only had 2, and we're already seeing like the kinder teachers using that part of the component. And it's something that they were like, okay, this is what the kids need to be able to do in grade 3. This is what we can pitch in, right, to get our kids ready. And it's just amazing how even in 1st grade, the kids are looking at the idea, they're brainstorming, they're giving topic sentences, they're looking for the details in the main idea. So it is very clear that it's something that we're working on together. And also common vocabulary, just the graphic organizers, the highlighting, the prepositional sentences, the main idea, like all of that is common throughout K through 6. So that is working together and just really aligning our work. Teachers have had time to implement all of the writing cycles, and the components of the writing cycles, and now in our PLCs, we're just gonna continue working together to see what is the practices that we need to modify and what are the practices that we need to keep as a system. Our goal is to develop a strong bilingual writers who can effectively express their ideas in both English and Spanish, so preparing them for academic success now and beyond. And something that Marcy, as we were talking about this presentation, is, okay, we need to remind them that in 3rd through 6th, the kids are writing in both languages all the time. So 3rd through 6th, the students are, if they're in Spanish, they may be writing an essay an opinion essay in Spanish, but if they're in English, they're writing a narrative in English. So they're writing all the time. K through second, they have 2-week cycles, where the English teacher might be teaching grammar for that 2 weeks, and then they switch 2 weeks, and then the Spanish teacher teaches the grammar, and the teacher teaches the essay writing. So we're committed to aligning our efforts to create a more cohesive writing learning process for our students throughout the remainder of the year. We will continue to work on our writing PLCs to strengthen and structure the writing process for our bilingual writers. Thank you.
Alrighty, and now, that was way too close. Now, I'm Isabel. I'm going to be talking about feedback. I teach first grade at Lutakaga, and as Paul mentioned earlier, feedback is one of our pillars that we really try to focus on. One of the main things that we have conversations about at Lutakaga is being poolside. And so poolside refers to this huge pool, and it refers to the stance that our coaches take. So for example, we have our admin, we have our support staff, we have our teachers, and we have our students. And together we're all part of this collective cycle that helps each other progress through whatever we're doing. Our coaches, our instructional coach, our admin, they show this through walkthroughs every week. So they come into our classroom and they observe us and they give us feedback instantly about how we're doing, what they saw, how it directly aligns to other grade teams, how it directly aligns to our goals as a school. And that really means a lot as a teacher, because it means that not only are we aren't going through long periods of time where we're not in contact with them. We're constantly communicating about the little adjustments we can make and how it directly impacts our students. And so being poolside is one of the things that we always refer to. Marcy referred to it as taking our second lap, always referring to never forgetting the past, so never forgetting what we kind of talked about and enrolled through our system our first year, but also taking in consideration that this is our second lap and that we can keep continuing to adjust that to better just adjust our own learning and teaching. One of the goals that we also try to achieve at Lutakaga is collective efficacy. We at Lutakaga take in consideration that it's collective efforts and not individual efforts that truly make and impact our student achievement and goals. And so as a school, we really try to align ourselves not only in what we teach, but how we teach it through our Teaching Like a Champion techniques. I know that in some of those pictures above, some of them are observing aggressive monitoring and active monitoring and doing it again, and there's just every minute matters have been some of the ones that we've been really hitting hard this year. Just making sure that as teachers, we are really listening to our students, because our students tell us a lot of things through their work. Our students tell us a lot of things through how they react and how they respond while we're teaching. And so being able to implement those teaching techniques that we talk about through the Teaching Like a Champion book, we are able to not only just teach, but also see what our students are actually learning from us, what we might need to review, what we might need to not review, and how can I really be intentional about what I'm doing and how my decisions impact my students directly. Another way that we're also able to view those teaching techniques is not only through discussion in books, but also through what we call visitas, which are part of our data meetings now. Visitas translate to visits, so this is a time where grade teams get to go and walk through other classrooms, and they get to watch it in live action, right? We walk around, we get to see other students from other grade levels, we get to see teachers from other grade levels, teaching lessons in different subjects, and just kind of taking in, hey, we just talked about working the clock last PLC. Now we're gonna go watch it in action and see how that's actually working and how that routine benefits everybody at our school. And so visitas are something that I know my grade team and me have really loved being a part of, just because we get to not only see those things in action, but also directly reflect on ourselves as a team and say, hey, you know what, this team is doing a really good job or showing me a really cool exemplar on what active observation is looking like. I'm gonna go take that one piece and implement it into my classroom so that we can continue to cause those chain reactions in all throughout. It also is a cool way to see all the alignment work we've been doing in writing and reading, we're able to step into these classrooms and just kind of see, wow, this is where it's going. We've been talking about subject and reading a lot, and we do these motions and we do these graphic organizers. Now I can see what it looks like before the grade I teach, kindergarten, after they teach in second grade, and what that leads to for all throughout our system. So we've been doing a lot of work around feedback, and it's not gone away since we started, but one of the most important things I think at Lutakaga we've really highlighted is that continuous cycle. Our admin impact, our support staff impact our teachers impact our students, and all collectively we're creating a change that's really good to see.
Another system that's really important for us to achieve our dual language program is being driven by data. So we make decisions all the time as educators. One of those huge decisions that we constantly want to refer back to is what are the kids telling us? And the kids tell us in many different ways. A lot of it is just through data and what they're doing in the classroom without our supports, when they're taking assessments, when they're doing tasks during the day, whether it's entry tasks, exit tickets, maybe some aggressive monitoring, they're always telling us information. So we have 3 different types of interim assessments that happen K through 6. It's going to be in language arts and math. We give them 3 times a year, and immediately after that, we get together as grade teams with our admin and our instructional coach, and we analyze data. We call it just a data meeting day. We sit through, we go through what the kids are telling us by student's name, by standard, and where we want to see them progressing. So we plan supports for individualized groups of kids at that time. We also spend a lot of our time thinking about what's coming up next and getting ready for the future, which is next few weeks, the next unit of study, or getting ready for the next interim, which is maybe a few months away. That forward planning has been crucial for us because it's a lot of time for us to get into exemplars. And I'll let Marcy talk a little bit more about exemplars right now.
I got really excited, which shows you how much of a nerd I am. Because exemplars might sound like common sense in any job, right? You want to know where your goal is, you have a deadline, whatever. But in teaching, it's really complex, and we started building exemplars, which are maybe a perfect example of what you want the student outcome to look like. Based on everything that we're teaching them. And we started building those with our interims and those tests that we had 3 times a year. But what that's evolved into this year, at least, well, in most of our teams, if not all, is the planning that we're doing. So each day as we're coming together in common planning, we're building exemplars for our daily lesson plans. Or what is it, the outcome for that day? And what that's created for our teams is, I'm not teaching math right now. My partner teacher is, and the other teacher on the other side is. And so when we create those exemplars daily together, I know exactly what I need to pick up on and teach when I'm teaching math. So like I mentioned before, we're not reteaching in a dual language system. We're carrying the baton, if you will. And those exemplars have created really great discussion about how we're teaching, what that should look like, how to have students' thinking be shown to us in the best way possible. And there's been many times this year where I have gone back and rewritten lesson plans because when we were doing the exemplar, we realized maybe it wasn't a great question, maybe it didn't get to the end goal that we were looking for actually, and we have to go back and make it better before we ever put the task in front of kids. So it's been a really cool change to our work and really elevated the outcome for kids.
So when we talk about schooling, a lot of times you'll hear tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 type of school, right? A lot of what you heard just now is about tier 1, that core instruction, but being driven by data and all of this work goes all the way to tier 2 and tier 3, the intervention type of activity. So an example right here on the right-hand side, that's VEPS. It's a way to process a mathematical concept. We're implementing that building wide, but this was an exemplar that was created in a 2nd grade data meeting that actually turned out bleeding over or guiding our discussions in intervention. So that very next week, that exemplar created supports and resources for all of our Spanish and English math interventions, not just in 2nd grade, but in 1st through 3rd, kind of the bookends as well for them. So it really does help in all facets of the instructional system. Another layer, or maybe I should say lap in the pool, that we're doing is our book study this year. This year we're implementing visible learning for literacy and for math. And this is helping us because we're using a lot of those high leverage techniques, such as John Hattie's effect size type of work. So there's a lot of different things out there that produce positive effects, even negative effects for student learning, and we just want to know which ones are the most high leverage ones so we know which ones we're pulling at which time. And that's the work that we're just starting in December. And we're starting to really pepper that into our practice, starting a lot with student discourse, and it goes hand in hand with our dual language system with linguistic abilities. So closing up, we talked a lot about our focuses for this school year and what makes us Lutakaga in a dual language program. But I also wanted to put this image here on the right because we started this work well before last year. We've been around for 20 different years, but really being able to hone in and be laser focused with our intentionality has shown a lot of growth for us. And is getting us a lot more consistency with our coherent plans. So you can see we had our focuses from last year, in the middle our focuses for this year, and how they are continuing and just with a second layer or a deeper dive into what our focuses are for next year as we start really chasing the future and what our language enhancements are going to look like so that our kids can become bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural. All right. Do you guys have any questions or thoughts for us?
Great presentation. Really enjoyed visiting with you guys on Monday. It was kind of a unique day, and but it was really encouraging to see everything in action. Really enjoyed it. Couple things. Pride Paws. My kids love those. That's a great idea. So. They even get upset when they get run through the washing machine, right? So they're always trying to tape them back together. But yeah, I love that idea. And I've heard a parent calls them mouth paws that they use in their house when they reward their kids. So it's where they got that from. But great idea. Norma back there, you're like family. So I just want to give a shout out to you. So. You keep everything in line, and you're the go-to person for everything. So we appreciate you. The Amazing Shake, it was great. My son got to participate in it. He went to Mattawa and came back, but just kind of the shout out to the whole school district. Like they had the police escort them and the whole 9 yards. I mean, that was really neat and just kind of made for a special day. So I love that Amazing Shake. I mean, whatever. Keep doing it and whatever we can do to get to the next level. And I mean, we got 2 kids going to nationals, so if we can keep that momentum going, that's pretty awesome. So, and then that poolside analogy, I really like that, another lap in the pool. And that's really kind of, as a parent, it really kind of resonates with me. But great visit. With all that said, I got my kids' report card Monday, so I got room for improvement. So, just when I thought they were just hammering it, we got to go to the drawing board on a few things. They're doing great in a lot of things, but there's always room for improvement. But thank you.
I almost always have questions after presentations, but I don't today because everything you talked about we saw at the school. We saw it in the classrooms, which is really great. Even though we only get a small snapshot, it's obviously everybody getting tons of work and tons of planning and the extra challenges that dual language presents. But it's great for the students, great for the community, and so we're really proud of it, and we hope you are too.
I just want to say thank you for letting us go out there. For me, I took a little bit of your guys' staff, the way you guys were in that library, looked like little kids. That was amazing. The staff looks a lot more buying into this new program that you guys have this year, and so that was really good for me to see that. And then mine is to Paul. Thank you, because every time we came out of a room, you were right on why we seen why they were doing it, how they were doing it. So it made it real easy for us, like you said, dumb it down for us a little bit to know what's going on. But keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have a public comment?
We have one request for public comment this evening from Jake Mendez.
Good evening. I'm Jake Mendez Jr., civil rights activist, ACLU Washington member, and an NAACP member as well. I just want to address the obvious. I want to point out the Othello School District President, Lindsey Prowse, being a Trump supporter. There is video evidence of it on AJ Mendez Media Productions. I just got to ask the school board, what does it look like to have Othello School Board President who supports a president who's anti-education, wants to cut the Department of Education, who's anti-DEI, who wants to cut programs for children with disabilities and school lunches? How does that represent the school board when you have someone who represents that president? And on the school board, how does it look to you as a parent, being Hispanic, that it may affect your kids in the future way before they even graduate? It may affect their programs. It may affect any activities. If they were to have disabilities, if they were part of the spectrum of disabilities, to have that program in place for them before they reach high school and after high school. You got to ask yourself, what does it look like when you have an OSD president sitting right next to you who supports a president that's going to affect yourself and your kids? Ask yourself that question. Let that marinate, that question inside your head. You're more than welcome to answer that question right here. You're more than welcome to ask that to your kids or yourself. Think about that really hard. You know what? Jen Stevens is right, the former school board member. And I give her gratitude for what she said before she left, that she would like to see a school board that's much diverse in inclusiveness all across the board, regardless if they're part of the LGBTQ plus community, if they were black, if they were they or them, whatever they want to identify, that's their right, that's their choice. But yet we're right here, half of the board, some already stepping down. One already admitted they don't like any quote unquote man participating in girls' sports. But you know what? I appreciate that. Lean on it. Say it loud. Say it. You don't want to support sports because of that? Don't then. As part of the LGBTQ community, we don't need your money. Keep it. Because I'm right here. I'm part of the LGBTQ community. What you gonna do about it? That's all I gotta say.
Alrighty, do we have any other public comment? With that, we'll do the upcoming events. We got midwinter break, 14th through the 18th. And then our next board meeting's February 24th at 7 o'clock. Any other upcoming events you guys can think of? We need to be aware of?
We got, well, just the sports-wise, we got boys and girls wrestling, and then I guess also girls' basketball is also, they're all going into districts this weekend, so shout out to them, good luck to them, and make sure everybody's safe.
In the music side of things, I know they're doing solo and ensemble right now. They had it last weekend, and I think they have it next weekend or the weekend after, so students are preparing for that.
And then that jazz night.
Yes, Jazz Night is February 20th, I think.
Where's that at?
The Assembly of God? It's at one of the churches.
Okay.
But yeah, we all got invited to that. So.
Okay, we'll move on to board of self-assessment, the meetings. We're gonna need input from all the board members.
We got the rookie team up here. We're missing the veterans. Hopefully they get back soon.
Yeah, same thing, just missing some board members as well as the student reps, but yeah, we still had some great presentation with Luticaga, and always happy to recognize the Crystal Apple Award. So yeah, we still had a great meeting today.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too, a few weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess, we had career day at the junior high, and that really went good. I thought that was an excellent way of just introducing the kids to career paths and just the volunteers that stepped up from all phases of organizations and businesses, and it was a good event. Something definitely keep going.
Another one for me was the way the community riled around one of our OHS students to help him and his family through a hard time. Just would like to say thank you to the board and the public for coming together and helping that student and that family out.
Alrighty, with that said, we're gonna conclude the meeting and go into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss land lease and personnel decision, but no decision will be made. Thank you.